Good day and welcome to this episode of Quilting with Don. I'm Don. No surprise there, I think. So, it's been about a month and a half since I last talked to you, and lots to tell you, because Carolyn and I went to the Quilt Canada 2026 Quilt Show in Winnipeg. Wow, 3 full days at the Quilt Show, and believe it or not, Carolyn and I spent every day, most of the day there. Now, we did take breaks for lunch and beer, and watched some football, or rather I may not have to say soccer, because the World Cup was on then as well. Now, if you saw my last video, you know I was raving about Terry Rowland, an amazing quilter. Well, she was there because she's showing stuff in the show too. And we kept crossing paths, and it was so great. Hi, how you doing? It was great, hugs all around. It was great. Terry's so approachable. We had so much fun and comparing notes, and it was a pleasure to be at that show. How did my quilt do in the show? Because remember, that was perhaps the focus for going to the show in the first place, was to see my quilt in the show. Well, it did very well. Now, once you see some of the other quilts, and you'll see that I didn't have a hope in heck of getting a prize, because there are many amazing quilts out there, and they were on display at this show. Certainly the theme seems to be art quilts. Those were the ones that were getting the most attention, that were getting the most oohs and ahs. But there was a few traditional quilts as well. Mine is a traditional Bargello quilt with an interesting choice of colors and some zhuzh with the applique. And so, in fact, I lurked. Carolyn lurked too, but we lurked near the quilt, my quilt, so we could hear other people's comments. And sometimes, once in a while, say, hi, this is my quilt. But usually we just hung back and listened. And a lot of people had a lot of good things to say about the quilt. That was fun, that was neat. Oh, my husband would love this, my kids would love this. Eye of Sauron definitely captures some imagination for some people. Now, I even got it judged. That's part of the deal when it goes in the show. Even though it doesn't win a prize, you get the judges' comments. And they were very positive. They loved the use of color. They loved my precision in sewing. Check! That makes me happy, because that's, to me, what Eye of Sauron is all about. They suggested I should have turned in the applique so that it would do better in the wash, because it's a bed quilt. It was listed as a bed quilt. That was the category. Well, if you're going to keep washing it, you're right. The applique, which is I did the rough edge and sewed it down, might not be as durable. It's a fair enough comment. The other comment they had is they thought that the quilting pattern I used, which was a flamey pattern, they didn't think it suited the quilt as well. They would have preferred something else. And I could see, based on the competition out there, there was some incredible quilting. Most of it free motion, most of it where people are doing their own patterns, whereas I did an edge-to-edge with automation. So I get it. I was happy with my quilt, but once again, while I had positive judge comments and I agree with everything they said, it couldn't hold a candle to the real quilting, the uber quilts that were there. So, but we had a great time. I spent more money at the show than Carolyn did, because they had an amazing, I keep saying amazing, getting a theme. There were many vendors there. And I know I spent more money on stuff than Carolyn did. Carolyn did the usual. Carolyn, she got fabric. She got some long arm essentials. She wasn't out there to spend lots of money. Well, I can't quite say I didn't have an agenda. The first thing I did was I was on the lookout for a panel. If you remember from the last video, I made, with Terry Rowland's design and her assistance, I made a cool raven. And hopefully here's a picture of it so you can see it. Well, I found a panel. I think it's going to work with it. I may have to be careful because I'm using a green screen. But the idea is to put the raven on this. All right? So I don't know how I'll set it yet. I'll probably add a branch, and he'll be in the foreground, and then you'll have the trees in the background. Isn't that cool? Now, while I was there, through conversation, a friend of Terry Rowland's, and I apologize, I forget your name. It'll come to me. Anyway, she insisted I visit this shop that had a lot of African patterns and fabrics, because it would make a great Hawaiian shirt. So I couldn't resist, and I got this fabric. It's thicker, but I think it'll make a great, look at that. It'll make a great Hawaiian shirt. Maybe I'll unfold it one more time so you can see more of it. Yeah, look at that. So this will eventually be another Hawaiian shirt. No doubt in my mind. What else did I get? Well, I appreciate using Carolyn's tools, but I found something that I had to have because it's manly. It's a manly fabric cutter. It's black, first of all, cool. It's by this Canadian company, see if I can figure out where, called LDH Scissors. And the people we talked to all raved about the quality of the metal they use, the process. And it's a thicker handle than some of the other cutters. It's very nice for my hand. The mechanism that protects the blade, it retracts, and then the blade on both sides. So, well, you probably got. I'd have to show you a close up, but it's very safe to use. It's a good cutter, and it came with its own little pouch, which you really, I'm not going to use that. So, what else did I get? Well, just wait a second here. I'll be right back. Ta-da! All right, so I've already taken it out of its box and put it in bin. I got something that really impressed me at the show. Yeah, it's just an iron, you say. Well, it isn't just an iron. It is the Eurosteam 1000 or something like that. Oh, the next generation, Eurosteam next generation. So the ironing plate doesn't get hot. The ironing gets done by the steam that comes out in profuse quantities. What you do is you measure the water you put in, and there's a boiler. You seal the boiler, you turn it on, it heats up the boiler, and then it generates a lot of steam on demand or continuous, depending on how you want to set it. The demonstration, and I've already tried it at home, you can just unwrinkle your clothes just by running the steam across them. And it works. It's great for my Hawaiian shirts. So I'll do a demo on the ironing board to show you how cool this is. It comes with its own little water bottle that measures it, and its own little pad to put the iron on. But once again, it doesn't get, I can leave it like this on the ironing board, and it won't melt the fabric because the metal does not get any hotter than the steam. And in fact, it cools off. So it's when you're ironing things, I don't know if it's happened to me. I get too close to my fingers with the iron as I'm holding it up and down. This is very hard to do that. Unless you're actually steam burning your hands. And you can be careful. I've already done some precision ironing with this, and I didn't hurt myself. So I like that. So more to follow on. I'll do the demo, like I said. So, now the last thing I got is, because I saw it demonstrated, and I was given a deal that I couldn't resist. And I got an Uber fabric cutter. Now, yeah, I've talked about my Scan & Cut, which is a good piece of kit. It does a 12-inch swath, maybe 24 inches max. I got a Singer Momento fabric cutter. It's like a Scan & Cut on steroids, and I'll show it to you now. This is the Singer Momento fabric cutter. I've already loaded a 24-inch wide by 12-inch deep mat, but I also got 24 by 24-inch mats. This is a fabric mat, specially made for fabric, and that's what convinced me to get it, because this works much better than the Stand & Cut for this mat alone. It's also, the mat will last longer, apparently. It's very well lit. It's got the interface here, but it interfaces with your laptop or your phone. I use laptop, and software that comes with it online, and it does a great job of importing your patterns. It's a great piece of kit. I love this Singer Momento. You can see it here a bit better, and I have already started playing with it, as you can imagine. Here we have, I'm going to demo this Eurosteam next generation. I'll call it iron. It's more of a steamer. So first of all, it's sitting on this little pad, but I could just as easily leave it like this, right on the ironing board. Because while the plate has gotten warm-ish, it has not gotten burning hot. So they give you this, I guess, for convenience, just to make sure. What you do is, I say, you fill it with water, seal the boiler, turn it on, let it heat up to temperature. The light will go off when it's ready. And of course, light comes on as it needs more power to keep the steam going. So here it is. Now, you have two ways to use it. You can give it a blast of steam, like that, or that. Isn't that cool? You can also turn the steam on with a variable knob here to stay on consistently. So for example, it's steaming now. Just as you hear it. And then I can iron what's in front of me here. That's how I took some fabric out and I'm ironing it. And it works great as an iron for ironing fabric. Or if you want more control, instead of having continuous steam, you just touch it like that as you need it. That way the steam will last longer. And this will give me 4 or 5 shirts worth of ironing easily on a fill. So yes, it does run out of water, uses a lot, but it works really well. And I can just sit it here. This is only a 1,000 watt iron. So it's not like a 1,500 or 1,800 watt iron. It doesn't use a lot of juice because it only has to heat and boil the water. It doesn't have to heat the whole plate. So this is really brilliant. I'll give you a close-up of it here. So here's the iron here. Da-da-da. See, now it's on the fabric. You can iron it, steaming, or you can see it here. There's the steam there. Or you can turn it on with it. So it's there, you can hear the steam. And I'm now steaming the material. I turn it off, put it back on the stand. So that in a nutshell is, I think, revolutionizes the way I want to treat fabric when I'm ironing it. And look at that, the fabric it cools off quickly because it never gets that hot. And it's a really cool system. All right, I'm showing you another thing that has happened thanks to Carolyn's idea. I put all my quilting supplies, a couple sewing machines, the old scan and cut, fabric, notions, all on this trolley that I can wheel from where I store it in the guest bedroom out into, well, where the studio, which I have. This is where I'm filming right now, with a table and right now the fabric cutter in the corner, the iron, bins. So you get the idea. I have this wonderful, this wonderful little trolley for storing stuff, and then when I'm done, I just pack up the table, put it on the trolley, and wheel it away. Well, Carolyn test drove 3 very well-constructed long arm machine models, or manufacturer's versions thereof, at the Quilt Show. She tried the APQS, I forget the name of it, but it was a big one. She tried the Handy Quilter, and she tried the Bernina. And may not be surprising to some who know machines, they all had their strengths. They all did a great job. But Carolyn fell in love with the Bernina. It's the most expensive of the 3. What a surprise. She test drove I think it might have been the 24-inch one, but anyway, she loved it so much that when we got home, a couple weeks ago, we went to our local rep for the Bernina, as well as some of the other things, and talked to her, and not only did she reach out and get us the show price for the Bernina, but even threw in more things. So we bought a brand new, don't have it yet, brand new Bernina 24-inch long arm machine, 12-foot frame, and it has the automation package on it too. So it's gonna blow the other one, the Quilting 21 that we have right now. It's gonna blow it out of the water. We will turn around. I've already made the ad. We're selling the Quilting 21. I don't think I'll have a problem selling it because we're gonna sell it with installation included and even free lessons. Then what's next? I think I hinted at this before. I've acquired this Orca stuffy pattern. I'll take a step back here. The idea is to make this Orca stuffy out of fabric and stuff it, of course, following the pattern. Well, a little while ago, I've been doing a lot of piping. It's that time of year. I thought, wouldn't it be neat if I made the Orca, which is, remember, it's the killer whale with the black sides and the white tummy and the white accents, just like on the picture. Anyway, so I thought to myself, what if I made it with the band tartan? Piping, kilts, tartan. And so I went to our local kilt maker, and she gave me the end of a bolt of some tartan fabric. I have more than enough to make the stuffy main body with wooden and black stuff. It's going to be tartan. And instead of having white like an Orca, I'm going to use yellow fabric because you can see that there's yellow in the tartan. I'm going to use yellow. So I think it's a cool color combination. I'll even print off a band crest and throw it on the dorsal fin, the top fin of the Orca. Now, part of the process, and the reason I'm showing you this, because this will certainly be in more detail in the next video, but the process that was recommended is you take this fusible fleece and you fuse it to the insides of the fabric you're using. It gives it body, gives it stiffness, so it makes it easier to stuff, but also gives it a nice shape. And because I got the fabric cutter, I'm pointing at it, you can't see it, I wanted to do a test. I didn't want to start cutting my nice tartan, which is a limited supply, and have things go wonky. So Carolyn says, well, I'll give you some fabric. And so I digitized all the patterns, and I cut out my pieces of Orca. There's one, that's the fabric Carolyn chose. And here's the tummy half. You get the idea. And it's all cut with my fabric cutter, complete with the fleece fused to the back side. So now, because this is already cut, and I'm gonna cut mine to the same size, but with the tartan and the yellow, Carolyn says, hey, let's make our stuffies together. So that is going to be the next Quilting with Dawn. It'll be Quilting with Carolyn and Dawn, dueling stuffies. We're each gonna at the same time make our little stuffed Orcas and have fun with it. So stay tuned for dueling stuffies, Quilting with Carolyn and Dawn. Well, I hope you enjoyed this somewhat lengthy episode of what's going on and where I've been and what's going on next. And hope you got to enjoy some of the quilts that were at the show. All right. You guys have a great one. Cheers.